What up, YouTube, man? It's your boy, I'm back, man, with another reaction. We got Jayson Tatum finally said something about Jaylen Brown. Let's get it.
Tatum wanted him out.
The comment was driven by his relationship with Brown.
To me, Tatum's kind of a passive-aggressive puss.
They weren't friends.
Yep.
They didn't hang together.
This, to me, speaks to his personality and how he deals with these kind of things.
They never really rocked with each other off the court.
Jayson Tatum wanted Jaylen traded. Fact.
Gather around, ladies and gentlemen, because your boy has some tea.
Would you like some tea, Mrs. Nesbitt?
Jayson Tatum
Tea.
is standing in a rec center in St. Louis at his own foundation's basketball camp, talking to a gym full of kids about what it takes to be a leader. Normal stuff. Just be
Dang.
humble. Ask questions. Don't act like you've got all the answer. It's typical Jayson Tatum stuff. And then he says this.
Being a leader doesn't mean you know it all. I don't know it all. I'll be the first person to say that. Being around somebody that feel like they know it all, I don't want to be around that person. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to learn from somebody else.
On its own, that's a fortune cookie. Just a typical thing that Jayson Tatum would say, always trying to sound humble like he's a philosopher of some sort.
Philosophize with him.
But the thing is, 3 weeks earlier, that exact phrase, the smartest guy in the room, was the phrase that two NBA executives used to describe Jaylen Brown on national television. And Jaylen Brown had already gone on a live stream and torched them for it. And then Jayson Tatum took that clip of himself and posted it to his own Instagram story. For a solid month, this entire story, whether there was tension between Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, whether there was a rift, whether they could coexist, this was all just based off of anonymous sources and vibes. There was never any evidence that these two couldn't stand each other. All we really had was Jaylen Brown saying this on Twitch after they blew a 3-1 series lead to his future team.
Honestly, this was the most fun season I've ever had in basketball.
And us speculating that Jayson Tatum could have been a
Regular
little
season.
salty about the fact that Jaylen Brown won Eastern Conference MVP and NBA Finals MVP when the Celtics won their 2024 championship. Here's the thing, Jayson Tatum officially put his name on it. He officially stamped this and said, hey, there was something going on here. And once you understand what this is really about, you're gonna realize this didn't start 3 weeks ago, guys. This has been building for 10 years. So before we get to the content, we're running a massive Grand Theft Auto 6 giveaway on this YouTube channel. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? So to understand why a leadership speech at a kids camp became national news, you gotta go back to 3 weeks ago. Boston trades Jaylen Brown to Philadelphia, and within days, we start getting some anonymous stuff. But the most interesting thing that we got came from Colin Cowherd.
I had 2 NBA sources tonight.
Went on his Twitch MVP 2 years earlier for that franchise. And Jaylen didn't sit on it. He went on his Twitch stream the very next day and he answered it directly. He said intelligence comes in different forms and said he never once walked around thinking he was the smartest guy anywhere. And then he went after the standard itself.
Never told anybody, like, look, I'm the smartest person in the room. That may be how they took it. In sports, no offense to everybody in sports, but the bar is f***ing low.
So that's where we were. An anonymous smear, a very public denial, and everybody moved on until Jayson Tatum walks into that gym in St. Louis and uses the exact same words. And here's the thing, this isn't just me connecting a bunch of dots. Brandon Jennings, a dude who actually played in this league for a decade, saw the clip and said what everybody was thinking. He reposted it and wrote, motivational message my ass. That's a shot at Jaylen Brown. Now, I want to be completely fair here because this matters. Jayson Tatum has never said he was talking about Jaylen Brown, not once. Every single outlet that covered this used the word seemingly. It's possible that this is a wild coincidence and a guy that just gave some normal advice to some kids. Possible, but if you just take a look at the context, I mean, could you imagine how Jayson Tatum feels right now? Jaylen Brown to probably the most exciting team in the Eastern Conference. The Sixers are literally a super team. They have Joel Embiid, Jaylen Brown, VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, LeBron freaking James. They have people taking buyouts so they could join that team. I mean, Ben Simmons might come back to back up Joel Embiid. It's crazy over there. There's so much juice and excitement in Philadelphia. And all Jayson Tatum was left with is a
36 cause that nigga, that's Rich Paul saying that. He probably knew where LeBron was gonna go. I don't know how long that clip was out, but he did have a clip of him talking about he think he could just be a backup. He could be a center. He should play center with his skill set. because of his passing ability and all that other stuff, and just being a pick and roll big or something. Like off the bench too, he probably be on like a minimum or something. He probably knew. He definitely can get Ben Simmons back. Hell yeah, hell yeah. You got Bob Myers saying he'll listen to anything LeBron say, dang near. Yeah.
Freaking
Probably.
James. They have people taking buyouts so they could join that team. I mean, Ben Simmons might come back to back up Joel Embiid. It's crazy over there. There's so much juice and excitement in Philadelphia. And all Jayson Tatum was left with is a 36-year-old Paul George. You're telling me while all of this is going on, Jayson Tatum is just coincidentally saying something that could apply to Jaylen Brown? I mean, he literally picked the exact language already attached to the loudest conversation about his former co-star, and then he posted it himself. You can decide how much of a coincidence that is. I'm just doing my diligence for you guys. Because here's what this is actually about, and it's not a phrase from summer camp. Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum spent 9 years together in Boston, 9 playoff runs, 2 trips to the finals, a championship. On paper, they were one of the best young duos that anybody's built in the last 2 decades. And underneath all of it, for basically the entire time, there was one question nobody in that organization ever answered. Whose team is this? Think about how weird their setup was. Tatum was the guy, a higher draft pick, the All-NBA first. Think about how weird their setup was. Tatum was the guy, a higher draft pick, the All-NBA first team guy, the face of the franchise, the one on the billboards. But Jaylen got there first, drafted in 2016, a year before Tatum, and Jaylen was never willing to just be the sidekick. Every single year, the question came back around. Who is the alpha in Boston? And then 2024 happened, and the question got really uncomfortable because Boston won a championship, and it's not Jayson Tatum who walks away with the hardware. Jaylen Brown won Eastern Conference Finals MVP and Finals MVP, both of them. The face of the franchise wins his first ring, and his co-star gets handed the trophies at both stops. Nobody in Boston ever said a word about that publicly. Everybody smiled, everybody raised the banner, but you cannot tell me that didn't affect anybody. Then last season blows the entire thing wide open. Tatum tears his Achilles. He's out almost the entire year. He misses all but 16 games. And Jaylen finally gets what he never had. He gets the Boston Celtics, all of it, no sharing, and he was spectacular. Career highs across the board, 28.7 points, 6.9 rebounds, 5.1 assists, all NBA second team, 6th in MVP voting, and he dragged a team that everybody had penciled in as a MVP voting, and he dragged a team that everybody had penciled in as a lottery contender to 56 wins and the number 2 seed. And when it all ended, Jaylen said the thing that started
all type of odds, huh? When you Jaylen Brown, huh?
6 wins and the number 2 seed. And when it all ended, Jaylen said the thing that started all of this. He called that season, the one where they got bounced in the first round, the one where Tatum was hurt, his favorite season of his career.
He called the season where he had how many wins? How many wins? 50-something wins, whatever. Dang near 60 wins. He called that his favorite season.
As a lottery contender to 56 wins.
Number 2 seed.
And the number 2 seed.
No drop off for real from losing all them players. That's what he called his.
Jaylen said the thing that started all of this. He called that season, the one where they got bounced in the first round, the one where Tatum was hurt, his favorite season of his career. His favorite, not the championship year, the year that he got to be the focal point of the Boston Celtics. Read that back. Championship year, the year that he got to be the focal point of the Boston Celtics.
And if he did say year, he's obviously talking about the regular season. Why the hell would he like losing in the first round?
Year, the year that he got to be the focal point of the Boston Celtics. Read that back and put yourself in Jayson Tatum's shoes for 1 second. Your co-star's favorite year is the one you weren't there for. That's the moment the mask slipped for a lot of people. And honestly, that's the moment a lot of us...
That's how y'all looked at it. He wasn't the only player that wasn't on the team.
That's the moment the mask slipped for a lot of people. And honestly, that's the moment a lot of us started asking whether these two could actually keep doing this. Then came the trade, and following the trade was the leaks, and within 24 hours, all the stuff nobody would say for 9 years came flooding out of that building at once. The personality stuff, the smartest guy stuff, rival executives telling reporters that Tatum's camp was bristling at the favorite season comments. And when Jaylen Brown finally walked out the door and the whole world watched,
it's almost like Should Porzingis feel away too? Should Drew Holiday feel away? Should Al Horford feel away too?
Was noticeably
Why is it only Jayson Tatum?
absent from his goodbyes. He thanked Nemias Queta. He thanked Luka Garza. 10 years next to Jayson Tatum, a man he won a championship with, and Jayson Tatum's name wasn't in it. And watch what happens.
My thing is like you acting like I don't even know if Jayson Tatum was. I heard they were saying that because some people was like, bro, Jaylen Brown shouldn't have won the MVP. Jayson Tatum had better stats. I don't know if he was stat padding in some games, but from what I remember, I don't even know if Jayson Tatum was the second best player in the playoffs, like on their team, bruh. So it's not like Jayson Tatum was killing. They had a super team. So shit, he probably look at Drew Holiday as helping him win that championship. Shit, or Derek White or Porzingis. Can't just because Tatum, I don't think he was hooping like that.
He thanked Nemias Queta. He thanked Luka Garza. 10 years next to Jayson Tatum, a man he won a championship with, and Jayson Tatum's name wasn't in it. And watch what happens when you ask anybody in Boston about this, because nobody would put a fingerprint on this. Brad Stevens gets asked how much input Jayson Tatum had in trading his running mate of 10 years. His answer?
Brad, what, if any, input did Jayson have in this decision? And none.
So then they ask Joe Mazzulla, the head coach, the man who coached both of them. How much input did he have?
Not input, just, Brad comes to you and talks to you and gives you a breakdown and an understanding. And in moments like this, obviously there's great alignment within the organization and there's conversations that are always going to be had.
So he also had no input. So let me get this straight. The best player didn't have any input. The head coach didn't have any input. And one guy just randomly decided to break up a championship duo. And everybody else found out. That's the official story out of Boston, and every person is standing on it. And to be totally fair to Joe Mazzulla, because he handled this about as well as a human being could, he wasn't shady about Jaylen once. He was the opposite.
He made me a better coach. I know that for a fact. The way he pushed me, the way he pushed himself, the way he pushed the locker room, he made me a better coach.
He said the thing he wanted people to focus on was the respect and the gratitude for what Jaylen did for a decade. That's a coach who actually loved coaching the guy, which is what makes the contrast so loud. The coach can find warm words about Jaylen Brown 3 weeks after the trade, and the guy who played next to him for a decade posts a clip about not wanting to be around people who think they know everything. One of those men had something nice to say. The other one had something else. Now here's the part that turns this from summer tea into next season's best storyline. Normally when a guy gets traded, the beef goes cold. He goes out to the West. You see him twice a year. Everybody moves on. That is not what happened here, guys. Boston traded Jaylen Brown to a team in their own division, which means these two now have to look at each other constantly. The preseason schedule already dropped, and Boston plays Philadelphia twice in it. October 10th at TD Garden and October 16th in Philadelphia. Then 4 more in the regular season. When you add it up, Boston could face Jaylen Brown 6 times before a playoff series even starts. And they could meet in the postseason again. Remember, they just played each other in the first round last year, and that series, even without all of this controversy, was already insane. With Boston blowing a 3-1 series lead to the Philadelphia 76ers, I mean, with all that together, we're talking about double-digit games this season if they meet each other in the playoffs. So circle October 10th. That is Jaylen Brown walking back into TD Garden for the first time in a Sixers jersey, in the building where he won a championship, in front of the fans whose jerseys Brad Stevens said he lost sleep over. And on the other bench is Jayson Tatum. 9 years of whose team is this? A month of subliminal messages, and now we know how he truly feels. Tatum already admitted that it's going to be weird seeing Jaylen in a different jersey after a decade together. Sure, I guess that's one word for it. So what do I actually think happened here? I don't think there's a villain in this one. I really don't. I think two guys got drafted a year apart into the same job, got told for a decade that only one of them could be the guy, and then went out and won a championship anyway, while the entire sport spent every waking minute ranking them against one another. That's an exhausting way to work. And the second that pressure valve opened, when they finally weren't teammates anymore and nobody had to protect the locker room, a little steam came out on both sides. Jaylen lets him out on a live stream, and Jayson lets him out at a kid's camp. That's not a scandal. That's just what it looks like when two people who spent 9 years being compared to one another finally get to stop pretending that
it on y'all. I don't think he's really necessarily popping it on Jayson Tatum. Like all said, playing team, all that, not making the playoffs. He's not that good and all the other stuff, and boom, nigga, I'm the MVP for real. If I'm in a righteous league, you know? So he just popped it on y'all. I don't think it's probably Tatum too, but you know.
Anymore, and nobody had to protect the locker room. A little steam came out on both sides. Jaylen lets him out on a live stream, and Jayson lets him out at a kids camp. That's not a scandal. That's just what it looks like when two people who spent
I didn't think he was
9
gonna
years
do what he did either though. But during the season, I was getting with it though. I was like, oh shit, hold on. He had like so many 30-point games. It was like, goodness, bro. He was overly hooping. I had to respect it, and he gained my respect even more. And yeah.
compared to one another finally get to stop pretending that it never bothered them.
But my thing is when I'm wrong about somewhere, I didn't predict them to be bad, but I didn't think he was gonna be this good at all either. And he was gonna take a leap. But my thing is like I stand on it now. Like, so I was kind of wrong about that. Now I'm like, oh, this should be the MVP. You know, I'm not gonna just give props and not act like he wasn't MVP or just not give him the just due. Like they did. Like, yeah, he's carrying his team. But no, give him his all the way respect. This is the MVP. Like, and that's what I was doing.
Him out at a kids camp. That's not a scandal. That's just what it looks like when two people who spent 9 years being compared to one another finally get to stop pretending that it never bothered them. I do believe multiple things. One is, if the new CBA and the second apron didn't exist, Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown would still be on this.
The storyline, don't let that be like Luka or anybody else, bro. They would have won MVP, man. You wouldn't have gave that shit to Shea again. Let's be real. Come on, man.
Same team with each other. I feel
don't
like
let Jokic lose Jamal Murray and do that. Come on now. We already know what's going on.
This was a trade that was made 100% because the Boston
got to beat all the odds because he's him.
Just couldn't see a positive future by paying two stars 35% of their salary cap. The return that the Celtics got for Jaylen Brown was pretty terrible compared to what he should have yielded as a result of his incredible season. That part is true. But at the same time, this was a trade that would not have happened if it wasn't for the new CBA. I feel like these two would have still been able to make it work another year because these are two individuals that have had tremendous playoff success together, made it to 2 NBA finals and 1 NBA championship together. The money is the main reason that this move was made. It's not because Jayson Tatum couldn't stand Jaylen Brown anymore. But I'll tell you the one thing that does confuse me. How much do the Boston Celtics dislike Jaylen Brown to have chosen Jayson Tatum over him? Remember, Jayson Tatum is coming off of a torn Achilles. Jaylen Brown has been in the NBA for way longer than Jayson Tatum, but a torn Achilles always alters a player's career, whether it's the longevity of his career or just the way Jayson Tatum is going to be able to play moving forward. Do they truly believe that Jayson Tatum is a better basketball player than Jaylen Brown? And is that why they decided to move Jaylen Brown? Or is it because Jayson Tatum is a much easier personality to work with? He doesn't do these live streams where he's consistently calling out refs and saying this last season was the best season of my life. There's a lot to think about here. What I'll say is this. Jayson Tatum has been in the league for 9 years, and he has never once said something that you could clip. Not one time. He's one of the most media-trained superstars in basketball. So the idea that this particular phrase, the phrase that has been all over NBA television about his former teammate for 3 weeks, just happened to fall out of his mouth by accident, and then just happened to end up on his Instagram story? Come on, guys. I'm not calling him a liar. I'm saying he's a smart guy who knew exactly what he was saying, which honestly might be the most interesting part about it, because Jayson Tatum firing a shot is way more out of character than Jaylen Brown firing one back. So let me know in the comment section down below.